Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to another dev stream. We are very much so excited to get to show you guys the latest updates in Lost Eidolons. And I am once again joined by the one and only Jin Sang, our creative director, who is leading the project just day by day, working super hard, especially ever since the closed beta, to bring a lot of these really awesome changes to y'all.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, everybody. Thank you guys for joining us right away. I see a lot of great faces in the chat already. We've got a lot to showcase today. There was so much done in this month of development alone. It's a much meatier showcase this month compared to the previous month. It's like things have been ramping up and ramping up and ramping up. We won't be showcasing music today. We've showcased actually most of the music tracks already in the previous streams, but there will be time for questions at the end of the presentation, so you guys hold on to them. And if you guys see anything that catches your eye, just make mental note of it, and at the end of this, we will answer any questions that you guys want to know about the game, about what you've seen today, so on and so forth. All right. So, are you ready to get started?
Yep, I am ready to start. Let's go.
All right, let's start with the first thing right away. We're going to waste no time here. And the first thing that we're going to showcase is a little bit of the new animated illustrated cutscenes. You guys have seen some of these illustrations before, but you haven't seen them moving yet. And as we've talked about in previous dev update streams, this is one of the core ways that we'll be telling the story of Lost Eidolons. There's a few different kinds of cutscenes, this being one of them. These are, I believe, illustrations done in-house, correct?
Yes, we have wonderful illustrators. So they did a great job on it.
Yeah, these look really, really awesome. I know it's a lot of work to separate the layers so that you could actually get everything moving. It looks really, really, really good. Normally, I think I'm used to working with teams in the past where this kind of stuff would be outsourced. So it's really incredible to know that the art team in-house is so talented. But yeah, this is one of 3 types of cutscenes, and it's a pretty good segue for us to move into the next slide, which is actually some concept work of how the storyboarding is even planned out for some of these cutscenes. So you guys in the chat, or the viewers at home, you guys won't be able to really see much of the details, but these images are mostly to show you guys how there's a lot of storyboarding that goes into each of the cutscenes. Jin Sang, these in particular, these are for the level 3 cutscenes, right? The ones that are actually fully animated.
These are fully animated cinematic cutscenes that we make the storyboard. I mean, based on the script we already have, and then we make the storyboard how we're gonna present them. Then we actually make the cutscenes.
Right, so these are for the big cutscenes, the ones that we want to go Hollywood with it, basically. All right, that's cool. I've never actually seen this kind of thing before, where everything is kind of planned out, almost frame by frame, almost on how the story is actually being told in these scenes. So it's really neat to see the planning part of it behind the scenes. And we can actually even segue from this into the last type of cutscene, and this is one of the really important ones, because this one is how certain fully animated cutscenes have made this transition to a static conversation style. And this really is a call to the closed beta that we just had, because there was a lot of feedback, and it was unfortunate to see, but it was very rightfully made that, you know, the standard of what our players, our community was expecting from some of these fully animated cutscenes, we weren't quite reaching it. So we tried something a little bit different, didn't we?
Well, we had a lot of feedback about the like not having voice, not having the facial animations, and even the body animations aren't really like good enough. We weren't following the up to the standard of our users. But and also it takes a lot of time for us to create those cutscenes.
Right.
So yeah, I need to adjust those cutscenes for like these cutscenes are better for like um just telling the stories, right? The conversations.
Yep.
What they are talking is much more important than how they are acting. So we wanted to focus on like the conversations more on most of our cutscenes. So
there's a lot going on that right side in the improvement afterwards. The lighting is better, the animations are more natural. There's an actual dialogue box so that people can better read what they're saying.
That's right. Yeah.
And with that dialogue box, that also means, since this whole thing isn't moving to a certain flow that was planned, that players can actually choose the pacing that they read these kinds of things, right? They
That's right. Yeah.
Right. They read what's being said, and they press X or they click or anything. No more it just going on, and you might miss important details. And of course, these cutscenes, they're still voice acted, right?
They are going to be.
Yep. Okay. So that actually covers the 3 types of cutscenes, and again, I really want to stress the importance of a lot of the cutscenes, because most of the minor cutscenes, they've transitioned to this type, right? And what that means is, one, the general quality should be higher, because spreading our resources to try and fully animate all these cutscenes, it was just stretching what we had too thin. So these cutscenes should be better, and it also gives the team more time and more resources to really focus on the actual fully animated cutscene, because there are still a few cutscenes that are fully animated, right? And now all of your time and resources and development are going into making those look like Hollywood grade, super good looking, right?
Yeah, we're trying to.
No pressure, no pressure.
All right.
All right. So the next slide, this one has to do with combat, and it is something that was very, very hotly requested from players, and it was giving players the option to actually skip the combat animations. I think anyone who's ever played Fire Emblem or played any of these types of games know of this option, the ability to not go into that zoomed camera perspective and instead be able to make quick, snappy decisions, right?
Well, this is actually we actually had a plan to do this, but we just didn't have enough time before the beta. But well, we had like the speed up option on the battle cutscenes,
right?
But then now this one, if you look at it, it completely like cuts down the whole animations.
Yeah, it's fast now.
Yeah, it will be really, really fast if you really like to have fast paced.
It's good to have options. You can use
this option. Yeah, this is an option.
Right. And some people have mentioned that it's great to see the combat animations the first few times, but maybe after a while they don't want to see them anymore. They want to be able to skip through it. So it's great that this option is in here, because the last several times we've actually brought this up in previous dev update streams, it was mentioned that there were a lot of technical limitations involved in actually implementing some of this, right?
Yeah, actually, what I originally wanted was to have animations on this not showing better animation actions, but
like the
on
overhead camera.
yeah, on the overhead camera, on a
Right.
cutter view, we could have some animations to have some simple, better animations and damage fonts up so that you know what's going on. But if you look at this video, there isn't any damage fonts or any animations coming up. You only see the like a blank
Yep.
screen.
Fade to black.
This is actually the trick where we have speeded up like really like a infinite times. Like
That's how you did it.
yeah, that's how we did it.
That's clever.
So,
That's clever.
What we're gonna add in this mode, we're gonna maybe able to add the damage fonts up, so that you know how much damage you dealt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good
But-
because I think some people would have probably had some concerns with that, not being able to see exactly how much damage they did in a quick pop up. So it's good to see that combat damage numbers will be added later on to this to make it. I can't believe that was your solution to it. That's so.
Actually, that's a joke. I mean, technically, it's kind of like that. If you know,
Is
it's
it a
kind
joke?
of like. It's half and half. It's kind of we speed it up like really fast, and we just didn't show it.
Right.
So that's how we did it.
Comment in the chat. I'm sad to see the fully animated cutscenes go away for the most part, but I understand why. I hope that the new cutscene types will do an even better job of storytelling, and the cutscenes that will be remaining fully animated will be incredibly memorable.
Yeah, you will be able to see those fully animated cutscenes, and they will be really good enough to feel like that. Yeah, I agree. I can sacrifice all the other cutscenes for these.
Right.
I want that. That's our goal.
Okay, so moving on to the next slide. This is a very cool one for many reasons. This slide is, first of all, showing off one of the new monsters, the Anispida. And it's also showing an overhaul to the weak point system, which we got a lot of feedback regarding. Now, there's a lot of things going on in this video. Besides for the zoom in on the horse's butt at the start of it, there's a lot of things that I think players have not seen before here. The first thing, of course, is the chain hit font. What is a chain hit? Because that was definitely not there during the beta.
Okay, the feedback we got from the beta was that the monsters were kind of too tanky.
Yeah, I was doing
And
like 2 damage to them.
That's right. It takes too much time to beat them down.
Mm-hmm.
So what we could have reduced the 8 hit point for those, but then instead of doing that, maybe I thought that this may be fun, so we can have
that would have been boring.
Combo system, so that if you hit the weak points consecutively, you will get the combo bonus. So your damage multiplies, up to like 2, 4, 5 times more than normal, so that it actually motivates you to hit the weak points.
Okay, and I see the tile is changing different color. Does that tell you how many more times you can use that hit point, that weak point?
Well, that's not really what we are only showing these in the during the combat animation. You will see the 2 times the chain hit, so 3 times chain hit. If you do the 4 times, it maybe show you 4 times.
Right. Okay.
So the damage will be multiplied.
Right. And I also noticed something here. It's very subtle, but at the very start of this clip, the Anispida is facing a different direction. And it looks like there was a change made so that it would be easier to tell that you were hitting the weak point while the monster was turning, correct?
Well, it's actually the other way around. You're hitting the weak points,
right?
But then the feedback was that because of its turning around, I'm not sure what weak points is going to be in the next turn. So I'm not sure like how we're gonna set set the strategy to hit the monsters so that we can have some chain hit. So what we are doing is we will show you how it will turn next turn, like it will be like. So if you try to attack, it will show you that it will turn like the it will turn how it will turn,
right,
so that you know the weak points where they're going to be changed.
Okay. So it makes it previously this system was purely random and you couldn't strategize around it very well. But
Yeah.
now you're actually able to see some level of predictability and strategize around which points will require what type of weapon and
So,
where you should position your allies for it in advance.
Yeah. Let me just clear you again that if you hit the weak points, what you're seeing, that's where you're seeing where you're hitting.
Yep.
That's the right weak points. And then afterwards it will turn. So users were having difficulty to predict where those weak points will be like.
Yes.
So we are trying to show them that it will be like this.
Makes sense. Okay, so this is really cool all in all. Yeah, you easily could have just tuned the numbers differently and kept it as is. Now, I noticed one thing is missing from this that was in the beta that is not here. And previously, the tiles had a floating icon of what the weak point was, and that is gone now, it looks like.
Yeah, when we have like one monster, that would be okay, but we had a lot of monsters coming up, and all those monsters with the floating icons, or one or two of them.
Right.
I don't think it would be like neat, So
a lot of clutter on the screen.
So I wanted to pull them down to the tile, and it's not showing right now, but the final icon will be shown on the actual
I see.
game.
So instead of it being floating above the tile, it'll be on the tile itself what kind of attack you should do on that tile.
Yeah, and then if you point it with your pointer, that it will plot to make sure that you're hitting the right one.
Got it. Okay, so there's a lot of signs and indicators in here that'll basically point you towards the right direction, so you know what kind of attack you should be doing on what tile. And just to clarify, it's only a chain hit if you do multiple weak point attacks in a row, right?
Yeah, in a row.
Okay, what happens if you do a weak point hit and then the next person comes up and doesn't do a weak point? Does it break the chain?
It resets. Then it breaks the chain and you will have to do it again.
Got it. Okay, so there's a lot of strategic value in making sure that your units are varied in their equipment and positioned well for each fight, especially when there's multiple monsters. Okay, very cool. So the next slide, again, you guys are going to notice a very recurring trend here that a lot of these slides are basically changes that were based off of feedback or things that were going to eventually be implemented, and we can finally showcase it a little bit. The next one is hotkey remapping. There's a lot of people who definitely wanted the ability to remap a lot of the individual hotkeys, and you can see in this slideshow that it's not just keyboard and mouse, but also controller or gamepad remapping options. I wanted to ask you, Jin Sang, are there hotkeys for actions? So like a hotkey to use magic or a hotkey to do a normal attack, that kind of thing?
For normal attack, I think I wanted to put, so it may be in, but not the magic. I'm not sure about it.
Right. Okay. But it looks like there's a lot of options, so giving people the ability to completely customize their hotkeys, always a good thing.
It's really like a lot of people mentioned how they wanted, their keys to be, put. I want this, I want that, So we had the customization option.
Controls and the ability to really move things was a really big part of of the feedback. I mean, there's also feedback. I don't think we actually have a slide for this, but even something like being able to pan the camera by putting your mouse near the edge and whatnot. Those are things that are seeing potential implementation so that players have better control over their camera during the battle segments.
We will apply those as well.
Yep.
I think we have planned for that.
Okay, so the next one is actually this is going to be a very it's going to be hard to keep track of what's going on, but this is kind of showing how each of the potential characters of the game will now have different icon or splash artwork depending on what kind of armor they're actually wearing, right? Previously, they only had one each, right?
Yeah, we had a fixed portrait for each character, but then in early game, it was kind of not making sense.
Right.
That Eden was wearing the end game armors, you know.
Right.
So we wanted to apply what he's actually wearing it at the moment of the game.
Right. This was, again, so to reiterate, this was based off of a feedback where at the very start of the beta, you know, Eden's character portrait, it was the very start of the game, so he was still like a budding mercenary, and he was just kind of wearing these like a little villager clothes. And when you got into the first battle with him, you'd look at his character icon, and he'd be decked out in like this nice armor or something like that. And it was like, wait a second, that's not what Eden looks like right now. So the idea was make a character splash for every character, for every possible armor combination in the game, so that their character portrait will always accurately reflect what they're wearing, which, you know, that's that's good for immersive purposes.
So we made the automatic tool for that.
Yeah. I see their head is perfectly in place as it's adjusted. Okay. All right, so this is the character UI, and we've actually seen this in the last few dev streams, but now the team has more or less settled on these concept arts, correct?
Yeah, we are trying to implement these now. We made the resources on those, and maybe by end of the year, I think this new UI will be applied.
Yeah, so we have the skill equipment, we have the character UI, we have it's all way more polished looking than what was seen previously or in the beta. So it's cool to hear that this is basically what the team has settled on. And while it might not look exactly like this, it should be close to what you should expect when you actually get to play the game.
Yeah, we're trying to make it as near as possible.
Okay. So the next slide is looks like an early concept of a bulletin board. What is this for?
Well, this is something when you start up the camp. There were some feedback where users wanted to have some management from the very beginning of the camp. So we put the bulletin board right outside the Eden's camp tent, and then when camp starts, Eden can go over the bulletin board and see manage what he can do in this camp.
Okay, so what kind of things can he manage from the bulletin board?
Not like everything will be on the bulletin board, but first of all, we're gonna show this later on, but the training could be done here. We're gonna have some automatic training system transited from where you have QTE action based training, and we will also have some kind of subquests where you can do those during the battle, like killing 10 archers. It's kind of like a quest, but we can call this achievement.
Yeah, it sounds like achievements, and I guess you collect rewards from them once you successfully do them. Would there be time limits on them, or would it be like, here's this quest and then you just complete it whenever?
Most of them, I don't think there will be some time limited. Yeah, so you can take your time.
Okay, that's good to hear. What about the advancement ceremony? That was a very major part of the camp. Would that also be done from here, or would players still be going to that area to do it?
Right now, you will have to go. But maybe we can put it over here. It's not that kind of like hard to do
Right,
for
of
me.
course.
So maybe we can do it.
Okay. That's pretty interesting stuff. So there are some submissions to essentially sort of we do have a slide later to kind of show it a little bit, so when we get to there we'll kind of break it down a little bit further. Okay. The next one, this is a tutorial screen on fast travel. And this is very funny to me because when we got feedback during the closed beta, there was quite a handful of people that didn't actually realize that you could actually fast travel to any NPC in the camp. You didn't have to run to them. And this basically served as a means of traveling around the camp quickly if you really wanted to. And the fast travel, it was very nice because it was seamless. There was no loading screen. You would just kind of fade to black and then just pop in right in front of where you wanted to be. But a lot of people missed this. And so having a tutorial kind of pop up in your face should actually help quite a bit.
Yeah, that's what we hope to.
Okay. So this signpost, you're already laughing, but I'm going to bring this up because I've got some beef with this signpost right here. This is a signpost that you planted into the ground. And you're hoping that people who get lost will be able to gather their bearings by looking at the signpost, right?
Yep.
I'm willing to wager that people won't actually look at the signpost. I will make that wager.
Well, I know. I don't look at the signpost as well, but
right.
A lot of people who don't want to do the fast traveling, there are some feedback where I don't want to have some fast travel option, but I want to run down the camp and see everything myself. But I don't know where to go and I'm lost, kinda. And those people wanted to some signature architecture or something, or maybe even signpost will have. So I thought that in this like camp where this is like a battleground and these are the tents for the battle, I don't think we can distinguish them too much.
Yes,
like
of course.
And so the signpost could help those who got lost during the game on the camp, and maybe I think that won't mean too much, but it will have some of those.
I will say that it's better that it's there than not being there at all.
I know, it's a little detail.
I do believe that it would have been really cool if there was something unique, so that if like you see it, it's like oh, there's the Leaning Tower of Pisa from France. It's like I know where I am in the camp now. Or there's the pyramids of Giza. Oh, I guess I'm on the east side of the camp now. But you know, I guess this is an eloquent, simple, and effective solution. I just think that a lot of people are just gonna run right past it, though. But we'll see. Again, it's better that it's there than not there for sure. Okay. This is it's very subtle, but it looks like it is a interactable floating text over things that you can interact or speak with from a further distance, right?
Well, this is like same thing for us about the signpost thing. I mean, this is a little detail we're gonna add. In addition to those signposts, we had a user feedback where I don't know what to do with like all those NPCs around, but they're not. I don't know whether I have to go talk, or I don't know where he's talkable or not talkable. So we're gonna show like this is where you want it to go.
Okay.
So this guy is someone that you can maybe talk, or you can maybe have some quest.
Okay.
You know.
So I understand because I remember previously when I was playing the beta for this, you wouldn't know what someone did unless you walked all the way up to them, right?
That's right. That's right.
Got it. Okay. Would this also apply to quest objectives within the camp, or just NPCs that you talk to?
Well, quest objectives as well. I think so.
Okay. So that'll be good. It's good visual clarity, especially again for a camp that people easily get lost in. Okay. So this is two separate things. My apologies, chat, but they're two separate things. They shouldn't be on the same slide. So bear with me. We'll go over them one at a time. Let's start with the thing on the left first. The thing on the left, that is related to leadership point usage, right? That's the little that's the points that you would spend that would be underneath the mini map, right?
Yeah, this is the leadership points usage dialogue, and this dialogue we call it more interactive dialogues, where we have richer and deep experience for users, so that you know, like, better understanding of maybe character or the background of them, something like
so
that.
this is like Eden going up like, hey, tell me your life story when you were a child, or something like that. Kind of like that,
Something
right?
like that. Yeah,
Got
we
it.
want to have more like information, or some more to, towards the
Okay.
the game world.
So since this uses your leadership points, what is the benefit of doing it?
You get friend with them.
And
So the benefits
that relates to fighting, right?
well, that relates to the fighting. So if you near him, you will get like some kind of bonus stats.
Okay.
Maybe the damage, maybe the hit accuracy or whatever. Those benefits will be there if you get friendlier with him, and if you get certain level of the friendly level, you will get another like conversations, cutscenes. Maybe not the cutscenes. I shouldn't say it, but another conversation, and you can jump up the relationship.
Okay.
This is something that you can have deeper relationship with certain characters.
Okay. So a couple questions based off that. First and foremost, since we're on the topic of relationships, I just want to reiterate this: are there still plans for romance options between Eden and certain characters?
Maybe. I can't tell you like we're gonna have. I think we will have one or two. I'm not so sure, but we do have some romance option, and some friendship option, something like that.
Okay. Actually, I've got two more questions. The second question is, during the beta, the leadership points appeared in the first time that you arrived at the camp, but you couldn't use them yet. It wasn't until a later camp that they gave you the tutorial on how to use leadership points. Will that UI be removed in the camps where you can't use it yet?
Maybe. I think so.
Yeah.
I think maybe it may be the other way around. Like the camp number 3 may have the some usage for leadership.
Okay, so maybe the tutorial on how to use leadership points will be introduced at the very first time you arrive at the camp then.
Well, that's something that we didn't want to throw everything to users when
Yes.
because there's too much information coming up. So that's probably why it's at the later camp. But if I will go over it and see if we could put it in the camp or put it in the later camp.
Okay, and the last thing, and it's a little bit of a weird question, and it's not, well, it's more of an observation than a question. Eden has two friends at the very start of the game, Francisco and Leon. Does it make sense that because their child they've been friends for so long before the events of the start of the game, that they start at a higher uh affinity or report rating at the very beginning because they were already friends?
Well, we can manually set the those the levels of the affinity, but um, well, that's I have to make some decision over, because we could say that this is just the affinity level from the battle, because being the mercenary and being the army is different. and
Yes, yes,
and
it is.
maybe this is as an army we will have a new affinity level, you know,
We were
like
friends
that's,
before, but now we're starting from a clean slate in the
yeah,
army.
that's right. Yeah, so maybe in a like a relationship wise, we do know better each other, so we could talk more like different topics, not
Okay.
like character wise, but you know,
Fair enough. Fair
something
enough.
like that. Yeah.
Okay. And now on the right image, this is from the bulletin board. This is what we saw on the
Hmm.
bulletin board before, and this, I believe, is actually one of the little subquests, right?
Yeah, this is the like a achievement kind of subquest,
Hmm.
where hellhound killing hellhound. There will be 10 kill the 10 hellhound, and collect the its teeth, five
Hmm.
of them. So if you collect those, you will get some rewards.
Okay.
And this
So
is something like something you we don't want to force these,
right.
you know.
So it's just
So you it's
optional
yeah.
achievements, kind of, with rewards for doing them.
Mm,
Okay.
yeah.
Pretty cool. Okay, so moving on to the next slide. This, I believe, this is the result screen for the automatic training. Now,
Hmm.
the training was a bit contentious. There's a few reasons why in the beta. One, not everyone knew that you could even train because it was optional in the beta as well. So some people just kind of ran past it. And two, not everyone was a huge fan of doing the mini game in itself.
Uh-huh.
And originally what we did was we doubled the speed of the mini game. But even
Hmm.
then it felt like it kind of missed the mark. So instead, how did the training change?
Well, we split it into two.
Hmm.
So before, it was like training was something that if you know the system, something that you really had to do it, because that's something that only not only but like few option you have to set up the the characters.
Right. It's one of the only ways
So
to really improve a character
mhm.
especially
So
outside of battle.
you had to go through all that QT action based um, um, training, but that was a bit too not fun,
Right.
I should say. So we moved those step up training to be the automatic training.
Hmm.
So maybe during the camp, you assign who to train, who you want to improve, so you assign them, and if you assign them at the next camp, you will see the results of them, and you will have some improvements over what you're training
Okay,
for each
so
character.
you would assign them to the training, you would do the next battle, and then when you get to the next camp, the results of that training would
Mhm.
appear.
That's one training, and the other training is something that you use leadership points,
Hmm.
and
Okay.
have some affinity level go up,
Right. Okay.
and something like that.
I'm gonna be bluntly honest with you. I like the new method better because it just feels more like a management thing. And it's like one of the
Mm.
different ways that you're managing your units, you're improving them passively, you're making that decision on who you want to train for what kind of proficiency, rather than having to go through these hurdles, these unnecessary hurdles of a mini game that would probably get boring after like the third or fourth time.
Yeah.
So this system is definitely preferable. It feels more like a management related thing, which I think people who play this type of game or this genre of game, they tend to like that sort of outgame activity of unit management. Okay, so the next slide, this is from the very, very first battle, but what it shows is this is, I believe, a first pass that some lip syncing has been applied to what the characters are saying in the scenario, right?
Yeah, before their mouth was shut.
Right.
So now it's a movie.
Right. So again, small detail, but so important to actually feel immersive and actually feel polished. And you know, the lip syncing's a work in progress. And it'll get better as time goes on. It's supposed to look like they're having a conversation mid battle. Okay.
Yeah.
So this one's really different. We haven't shown anything quite like this before. First of all, the UI for this, it's a placeholder, correct? Right. And this is basically showing a decision making in the middle of the combat, correct?
Yeah, this is where we have some event where we can throw some choices to users. And then you can make a decision over what to do. So in this screen, the example was to have reveal the hidden armies. You can, in the beginning of the game, you will be hiding some armies around the some bushes or something, and then we can reveal them, or the other one is just to wait. So it's like this can be applied to where during the battle where enemies were marching down, and then you wait and wait and wait and see when they were like really near, you know start to attack.
I see. Okay, that's actually really cool. So I guess it's supposed to apply an additional element of choice during battle, or an additional variable that's kind of thrown to the player, and it gives them the ability to decide on how they want to strategize for the combat scenario. That is very new. I don't think we've actually seen. Do you think something like this would appear often in the episodes, or just like occasionally in a few choice episodes and a few very unique scenarios?
Well, not very open though. Like a few of them.
That's cool though. I think it'll help characterize certain episodes to be more unique from one another. Okay. So the next one, this is actually a great segue from the previous slide. This is showing one of the later combat scenarios, right? And this scenario, because in the beta, people only had scenarios where it was combat, kill this guy, kill all the enemies, kill. But this scenario in this particular example is different, isn't it?
Well, there's a fire object on the battleground, and that
right
is
there.
that is for the calling the reinforcement.
Hmm.
So if you don't get the control of that fire thing, the more enemies will come at you. So you have to get the control of it.
Okay, so it's like a signal, like to call for reinforcements. Got it.
This is a kind of gimmick we wanted to add to have a
clear objective. Yeah. All right, cool. Okay, so we've got 2 more slides left, but they are very, very, very important ones, especially if you are someone who backed the game on Kickstarter. This should be especially pertinent to you. The first one is a update to the tombstone, and this was something that appeared in one of the backer tiers where people who backed the project would be able to get their own tombstone in a special gravesite area. And then if you interacted with it, it would, it would be the name of the backer and a little blurb that they'd be able to provide. And I believe this is the first time we're showing how this might actually look in game, right?
Yeah. This is where the right screen is where the camp in those the tombstone will be placed, and the left screen is the object that we created for tomb.
Oh, that's cool. There's more than one variation in the tomb, so they look a little bit different from each other. That's good. And I can see on the right screen, Eden was interacting with one of the tombstones, and that's how it might look when you actually interact with it and read what the backer had to say. A little blurb from the afterlife. And the second slide is also for Kickstarter backers. This was one of the higher tiers, and instead of a tombstone, the backer would get a little wanted poster in the camp. And you'd be able to walk up to it and interact with the poster, and maybe it might pop up on the screen with a stylized rendering of the artwork that they wanted. It's not exactly what they provide, but our art team would basically design what goes on the poster based off of the source material that they provided, right? To keep it consistent with the game's world and everything. And of course, you'd see what the bounty that was on them and what they're wanted for and that kind of stuff. So it was a cool higher tier backer reward. And this was our way of trying to say thank you to the many supporters who backed the project. So we've been able to make some good headway on this. I'll probably make a separate announcement on Kickstarter itself so people can see the progress that's been made on this. Okay, everybody. So, like I said before, there is no music to showcase because we've actually showcased most of the music, but not all of it. There's some more music, but we can't showcase it to you just yet. It'll have to be a surprise. And at this time, we would love to take any questions that you might have. If you don't have any questions, that's cool too. We'll always be able to answer questions on our Discord, which you could find underneath the channel below, among other social links. But if anyone has any questions now, please do feel free to ask. We definitely hope that you guys have been enjoying these presentations in general, because we've been really, really happy to implement player feedback in a lot of these design choices that we've been making on a month-by-month basis. I think the game already looks leagues different than what it did before, and I don't think that there's quite a few of these changes that probably wouldn't have happened without that closed beta feedback that we received recently.
That's true.
Yep. And also we had the live stream today because it is a holiday week. We have Thanksgiving coming up in a few days, so we wanted to make sure we're catching people on a day where they might be available so they can catch this. Jin Sang, before I read the question in chat, I do want to ask, with next month being the holiday season, should we expect a dev update next month?
Well, a lot of updates are coming up, so
Yes.
if we have time, I think we could show you guys as well, like a lot of things.
Yeah,
little details.
We
like nowadays we are like coming up with all those details, like the better UIs and something like we had a feedback where I can recognize which character I want to, the not acted and things like that. The details we are filling up.
It's the polish. It's to make the game feel nice to play. So someone said, no questions, just a thanks for all the hard work. Changes look great. I'm more excited for the game and appreciate the transparency and communication between dev team and player base. You rock. Thank you very much for that comment.
Thank you. Really, thank you.
Kai writes, about the new type of cutscenes when two characters are having a conversation, wouldn't it be better to have both of them on the screen at once and kind of highlight the one that's speaking at that moment while the other one is kind of grayed out. Okay, so, right. So let me go to this as an example. In certain cases, there might be characters that are having a conversation, and what Kai is writing is, wouldn't it make more sense if all the people that were participating in the conversation were all on the screen at once, but the one that's talking is currently in focus, or the light is on them, or they're animating, while the ones that aren't talking are kind of grayed out and still.
Well,
yeah,
that's great idea, but I had to make a choice. For having multiple characters, like if we have a 5 characters, that means we will have a 5 characters on the screen, things like that.
Yeah.
And we wanted to have show more details of the characters. If you look at the screen,
Yes.
and these characters are really, really like detailed.
Yeah, I think it would be. I think this particular cutscene, there's like 6 people in it. It would be hard to have them all on the screen at once.
That's right. The characters are really, really like high quality, so we can bring up all those characters.
They take up a lot of space. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I had to make a choice that one at a time, maybe 2.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah, but then we run into questions of like consistency between the cutscenes, where you'd have cutscenes where people are fading in and out, but then you'd have a cutscene where everyone's on the screen at once, but like one's popping in, one's popping out. So that could be kind of tough to make a decision on as well. It was a great feedback though, and I think I've seen games that have employed that type of that type of cutscene before. So I understand where you're coming from on that for sure. I think in the case of Lost Eidolons, though, it might be a little bit difficult logistically to do that. Okay. Any more questions? We definitely want to give you guys an opportunity to ask them while we're here. If you can't think of any questions, but you think of them later, you could always ask them on our Discord as well. We would certainly answer them there as well. We always want to invite our community to ask us questions, to challenge our decisions, and provide feedback every step along the way. We want that feedback to know that we are making the right development decisions. We want a little bit of guidance from our players so that we know that we're making a game that you guys actually want to play. So that feedback is vital for us.
Yep. They are.
Okay. Well, if we've got nothing else, then we will be wrapping things up. I will also be uploading and chaptering this VOD onto YouTube. For the next little while, we will not be having supercuts. We'll be uploading the VODs raw on YouTube as has been requested. We're going to see how that goes for us. If it doesn't work out, then we will supercut again in the future. But for now, we'll be uploading the entire thing and chaptering it, of course, so that you could easily reference any of the things that we talked about today. Okay?
All right. Good.
Thank you very much for joining us, everybody. It was great to see all of y'all come out, and it was great to answer some of your questions and see some of the feedback along the way. It's extremely encouraging and motivating to see some of the things that y'all have to say about the improvements that we're making to the game.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. We'll see you guys on the next one. Look forward to talking to y'all on Discord.
All right.
And everywhere else.
Happy holiday, guys.
Goodbye. Have a good Thanksgiving if you'll be celebrating that.